right, y'all, so let's talk a little bit about the keto diet, and in particular, the keto flu. Because I've had quite a few people come to me experiencing some technical difficulties on a keto diet, mainly issues of the keto flu or keto flu-like symptoms. This is massive dehydration. This is lethargia and headaches and hormonal issues due to a deprivation of blood glucose. Everything from bad breath to acid reflux to poor sleep quality, muscle fatigue, right? Suffering performance in the gym, all kinds of stuff, right? Just overall feeling cloudy-headed and miserable. Now here's the deal. It is a common belief that the keto diet is a great weight loss diet, which is true in a way, because within your first week, couple weeks, and your first month, you can actually lose a lot of weight. But most of that weight, the overwhelming majority of that weight, upwards of 80, maybe even 90% of that weight is water weight. And the reason for that is because if you cut your carbohydrates to 5%, then you don't have the carbohydrates in your body to retain water. Fatty foods don't really retain water. Okay, and that is a result of the dehydration. Now, these high-fat foods, they're lacking in a lot of things, right? So one of the big issues with the keto diet and people experiencing a keto flu and things like this is a major lack of electrolytes like potassium and sodium and things like that, along with the dehydration. There's also a lack of magnesium in a major way, especially if you're not eating enough of your greens. This is going to result in muscle cramps and pain and all kinds of stuff. So, for me, of course, anybody who knows me or familiar with my work, I advocate for carbohydrates in your diet in abundance, right? A whole food, plant-based diet where you don't have to be making drastic changes with how high and low your carbohydrates and fats are, right? So of course we have the keto diet, and then on the opposite we have something like 80-10-10, which is 80% carbs, 10% protein, and 10% fat, which is a fantastic diet and has very medicinal purposes. And if you're going to go to the far end of the spectrum with your diet, right, something more sustainable would be an 80-10-10. It's the only kind of diet proven to reverse major chronic illnesses of all kinds, autoimmune diseases, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, all kinds of stuff, right? Diverticulitis, colitis, right? Arthritis, all kinds of stuff like this, right? Especially insulin resistance, right? Improving insulin sensitivity. I've spoken a lot in the past about insulin sensitivity. Now, chances are if you are going on a keto diet or considering a keto diet, or you're already neck deep in it and you're experiencing these technical difficulties, it is because there's the belief that carbohydrates is causing the bloating and the weight gain and the water retention and all of this, the foggy headedness, where you just feel like, right? And so it's a common belief that, hey, if I just cut all my carbohydrates out of my diet, I'll fix that. But the issue is just not the carbs in general, it's your gut health, right? It's your overall health of your digestive tract. So just cutting carbs out of your diet and dropping your carbohydrates to 5% is akin to throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And in return, you deprive yourself of a lot of things: calcium, iron, magnesium, copper, vitamin C, a whole variety of B vitamins, various antioxidants, things that you would get in abundance from foods like fruit, more leafy vegetables, right? In particular, the fruits. The fruit is the big deal because a lot of people who are consistently demonizing carbs and think that carbohydrates is the root of all problems will tell you you got to cut out all your sugar, and that includes fruit. Now, it's hard for me to believe that anybody who's telling you to cut fruit out of your diet knows what they're talking about in terms of diet, because eating a grapefruit is not really the same as eating a fistful of grapefruit flavored Jolly Ranchers, right? Very different thing. So we got to get a little bit nuanced here. Now, carbohydrates are fantastic, and if you can fix your gut health in a way where you don't feel bloated, right? You don't feel lethargic and cloudy in your mind. If you can fix your gut in this way, where you can eat freely and you can eat all the fruit in the world without feeling horrible on the back end, right? This is life, this is living right here. So the only way you can do that is through two things. Number one, you fix your food choices. Number two, you implement some sort of fasting. You make a habit out of fasting. Predominantly, I'm talking about intermittent fasting. There's different types of fasting, right? But the type of fasting that you can use very consistently, week in, week out, is intermittent fasting. And then let's say maybe once every 3 months or something like that, or maybe once every 6 months, you do a 7-day water fast. And for the extreme cases with the real serious health problems, you can do a water fast that lasts for a couple weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, right? A 21-day water fast and this type of thing, where you're herbalizing and alkalizing your body, right? Giving your digestive system a break. But I don't want to get too much into the extreme stuff that's very hard to commit to. I want to give you some easy stuff instead. Now, if you don't have fruit in your diet, get some fruit in your diet, a few pounds worth every day. Especially if you want to rehydrate. If you're foggy headed and you're cramping, you're low on the magnesium and all these kind of things, electrolytes, right? Introduce some fruit into your diet, but start with low glycemic fruits. Like an assortment of different berries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, these kind of things, right? Rather than eating white potatoes, you want to eat something like sweet potato. You want to eat butternut squash. You want to eat foods like baby tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, right? You want to start introducing mushrooms into your diet. You want to eat your kale and your parsley and these types of things. Oregano, right? Fresh herbs and greens. Cucumber, watermelon, mango, right? Feel free to take down some mango, right? Find a nice spot in nature and just have at it with a few pounds of fruit, right? Pack a bag literally full of fruit and start your day off that way after some intermittent fasting, right? Drink teas like dandelion root tea. Get some actual dandelion root. Get some burdock root, some bladderwrack, right? These different types of things. Because macros, right, proteins, carbs, and fats, it is important, but when it comes to optimizing your health, well, now we got to get into vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, things like that. We got to get into mineralizing the body. So carbohydrates, right? Start introducing gradually. Take your time and gradually insert more carbohydrates into your diet, right? That sweet potato that I mentioned, that butternut squash that I mentioned. Put some quinoa in there, right? Some ancient grains, not like wheat or anything like that, with the gluten and all of that. Because gluten, well, glue is in the name, right? Because gluten is actually an adhesive. People are often gluten intolerant because it's like glue, literally. It's an adhesive. That's why if you ever baked a cake or something like that and you use gluten-free products, it's very dusty and flaky. It doesn't hold together well, right? You need that gluten in there to make it stick together. And a lot of that gluten will stick to your guts, and that's probably what you experience. It's hard for the body to digest this for some people, right? Especially people with poor gut health. So consume carbohydrate sources like quinoa, farro, millet, kamut, or kamut, however people say it. K-A-M-U-T. If you can tolerate it, eat oatmeal. Experiment. Chickpeas, lentils, things like this. Pumpkin seeds, right? Chia seeds. Hemp seeds. Consume these kinds of foods. Food choice is the name of the game, right? Look at the nutritional facts. How much copper is in that food? How much iron is in that food? How much magnesium, manganese, all those different types of stuff. Because those minerals are much needed in order to heal your gut. Now, once you slowly pick up your carbohydrates over a period of days and weeks and months, and you get your body used to eating carbohydrates, you get a bag of key limes, and during your fast, where you fast from the time you wake up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're drinking your dandelion root tea. You're drinking your key lime water, where you're squeezing a couple key limes into your water. You're doing the 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar a day. You're using cinnamon in your protein shake if you're having it, right? You're using cinnamon in your chai tea. And these types of habits over a period of time, right? Juicing celery and ginger and kale and herbal greens like parsley and oregano. When you're implementing habits this way, you're going to notice a difference in the way you feel, the level of energy that you have. You're going to notice a difference in your mental and emotional health. You're going to notice a difference in your blood flow. You're going to notice you don't really feel bloated anymore. You're not retaining water. Your ankles are not swelling. Your stomach and your belly is not distended, right? Where you kind of look a little bit pregnant, right? You got a, what do they call it? A fupa. You start leaning out. All of this is a product of fixing your gut health and improving your insulin sensitivity, getting over your chronic insulin resistance. And this is how it works. You chip away, okay? Don't give up on carbohydrates just yet. Because just cutting carbohydrates out of your diet is just running away from the problem. It's just accepting the fact that your food choice is limited to things like bacon and eggs and steak, right? Or whatever fatty foods you're eating, oil, you know, olive oil and grapeseed oil and butter and whatever, right? This doesn't have to be your life. You can eat an abundance of fruit, but you got to do the work. You want to be healthy, you got to do the work. Stop with the emotional eating. Eat your bitter foods. Because you got to work on yourself, mind, body, and soul. And that's how you get healthier. That's how you get leaner. That's how you get stronger. That's how you feel better. And this is ultimately how you raise your frequency and become the best version of yourself, y'all. So I hope this information helps you. I'll talk to you later.